Hello, welcome back to Loving's Guitar, where I like to talk about guitars and how they make me feel. This episode, however, we're going to discuss this thing, the Peavey Decade. The Peavey Decade. Now, I got this from a store back in, let's see, decades ago. Actually, decades ago, because this came out in like early 80s, and that's when I got it. Early 80s. So this is, I'm going to guess it's over 4 decades old. This thing, 4 decades old. Oh my God. Seriously? Now, how many things last that long if you actually think about it? I mean, you're going through like your mobile phone like every 3 or 4 years, and look at this thing over here. 4 decades. Then it's called a decade here. All right, so let me tell you my personal story about this decade. All right. Well, the decade that I told you the decade, it was like in the 80s when I got it. And when I got it, I had other practice amps, I should say, before this. And, many of those I actually lament to this day that I ever sold them. Actually, were beautiful little tiny amps, but some of them I don't even remember the name. But they were like 50s, not or like early 1950s or 60s amps. They're really cool. Anyway, point is this: back in the days when I had gone to Berklee College of Music in the early 80s. By the time I got out, I think I might have gotten this while I was still in Berklee. But I do remember it after Berklee, and I was then living in the city, Manhattan, New York, and then so that I was living there like around '83. This was with me the whole time. Now the story with this particular amp and how it moves me was it really didn't move me much, seriously, because it wasn't loud enough to do anything with. Like, I couldn't really, like, play with a drummer. It's not loud enough to be with a drummer. And but like, if you're pointing it at you in the bedroom, I guess it's like it could be offensive. And it only got offensive when you turned it up. And that's when it actually sounded good. Actually, it had a decent, clean tone. Basically, basic tone. But it was, that came out of a. It sounded like it came out of like an AM transistor radio. That you had, like, say, in a Pontiac. Maybe it was fancy with an 8-track tape, whatever player. That sound, that's the good, clean sound I would get out of this thing. It's not something memorable, nothing heartwarming or like endearing, like I want to play more of that. But as you can see, we have two channels here. We have the input. Over here we have the clean and the saturated. Yeah, not like color. It's like saturated. It's like it's like it's distorted. Anyway, so I had lamented because I had, say, moved on to, like, the transistor life. Things that were lightweight, because all the amps before were all heavy. Even the practice amps. Like the Princeton. Okay, other than us thinking that the Champ was the practice amp, for many years it was really like more or less the Princeton, because really didn't turn it up until somebody woke up and said, "Let's turn this thing up." And the fact that nowadays you don't need a big amp on stage because the PA is gonna handle everything. So what you need to do is just get to the tone that you want, and let the sound engineer, the sound man, balance it all, and try to figure out the best way that he can make it sound good on stage for you to hear it yourself without you saying, turn it up, right? We've been there. We know that. That's a challenge. But anyway, the story goes about this particular thing. So the story about this thing is now, as we can see now I haven't changed much about what I feel about this amp. And including one of the things I haven't changed at all are these particular settings here. Now, I know that, if you've been following me during this passage of time for me on this channel, because I'm still figuring things out, because I'm just slightly above moron. So anyway, what we're gonna do here is, because I do wander off topic. I'm a senior, all right. I don't know. Maybe I'm glycating in the brain. It's going grayish, because I'm not growing hair, so it must be growing on the inside. Folks, stick with me now. All right, okay. So the Peavey Decade, I don't know how many watts is in here. What is it? I'm not even going to look. I bet you everybody here on the internet knows how much wattage, what are the specs? Oh my God, the specs. You know what? Maybe there's tone wood in here. All right. How we're going to listen to this, how we're going to get it through to you. We're going to use this SM57. Oh, no, 57, no, 58, no, 58, no, this is 57, 57, Heinz, it's like Heinz, all right, anticipation, when is he gonna get to hear this app? We're getting there, because we're very saturated, as you can see. No, I haven't had a single drink today. Maybe I smoked a few doobies, but that's about it. I'm not driving. All right, folks, look at the settings before I forget them, because you know what? We're not going to move them. All right, so the whole brouhaha about why this amp is just so killer. Isn't it interesting that, killers, there seems to be almost sometimes a romance for killers, they go into jail, they get into penitentiaries, they get locked up, and suddenly there's women all over the world sending them love letters, and they want to get married, they want to get closer to the killer. Back to the story. So, is this really a killer? Does this really is it the ultimate saturation? I mean, is it the predecessor of what, amps that would come after this? Because I don't know. Well, maybe. I don't know. I'm not a technical whiz kid like that. I don't know. There's other people who can scream at you a whole lot better, and basically with a lower frequency, because I got a high pitch. I'm stuck with this. All right. Okay. All right. So let's get back to. Oh, you know what? I've had enough with the anticipation. Let's turn this up. Okay. You've earned it. You guys earned it. You guys been putting up with this. All right. All right. So let's get going. So first thing, let's just enjoy the moments of before the switch gets turned on, because once the switch gets turned on, it's like a roller coaster ride. Well, you know what? I'm very impressed either way we go. Either way this turns out, I'm going to be very impressed, because it's built in a lot of the features. And guess what? It has none of them. All right. So one of the features it doesn't have, with a lot of amplifiers that we'll look so accustomed to, they got reverb, or a tremolo effect included, the responses, impulse responses, and then none of that exists in here. There's no reverb, nothing. It's just 3 tones. You get you get the frequency. If you got the low, the mid, the high, and we have a post, which is you know what that is, and then we get the pre. And as you can see, you can see I really like this point over here when we're all the way at the completely saturated, and we're on the saturated channel. And you know what? Just for shits and giggles, this is the post, right? This is as loud as it can go. We're not all the way at full bananas. How about that? We're just gonna bring it back here, right there. Okay. Let's check out the low over here. So I'll have my low between 6 and 7. Mm-hmm. Moving on. As I mentioned, we got the lows, the mid, and the high. And this is where I have mine set. So this is my low is set between 6 and 7. Mm-hmm. And my mids are set between 7 and 8. Mm-hmm. And my high is set between closer to 5. It's between 5 and 6. Today I'm using a guitar like this. It's got humbuckers. Okay, this is a Harley Benton SC 552. I highly recommend it. But we're not talking about the guitar now. We're talking about the amp. Excuse me. So let's turn this on. So as I mentioned before, look at how quiet the room is right now. Isn't it nice? All right, let's turn it on. Let's see what happens. Hey, remember all those good old days? Oh, those good old days. Now, it's often shocking to me that what this thing can do, because it has a particular thing it does. And when it's allowed to do just that, I think this thing is pushing dust out of the speakers. I don't know what kind of speaker is in here. It's the speaker that Peavey put in there. I haven't done any modifications to this amp. It's the same thing. It hasn't changed. All right, so that's what I think it does really well, except for one thing. A lot of things, actually. But let me see if I can touch on some of these aspects that don't really appeal to me. Is that the thing? All right, so maybe you shouldn't get one of these. Oh, maybe you should. Maybe, yeah. Okay, so you know what? Okay. I thought this video was going to be different, but everything's different. You got to be able to be flexible. And so what I'm going to do right now, we're going to go right to the normal channel. Like we're gonna be normal now, all right? Now, if we leave it at normal, okay, well, just plugged in at normal, but we're gonna leave the settings like as is, where the pre is already pegged all the way, and we're not gonna play around with the EQ. We're gonna leave the post exactly where it is right now, so you can hear for yourself if this is something you really you want in your life. All right. All right. You, but there's a lot of bubbles coming out of that thing. But that's just the way it is. That's basically as loud as, well, it's not completely as loud as it can go. It's almost there. I mean, okay, let's hear the difference between where it is right now and full blast. More of that broken speaker effect. So when I get to that 10, which is the reason why pre on 10 and post on 10 to me is completely useless. For me. I don't know for you. Maybe you love that sound. For me, it's going to have to be somewhere there or less. Well, at the post. But you can keep the pre up. Even with the in the normal channel. And that's how that sounds like. Now let's take out the whole pre out and leave the post as is. Okay, we haven't turned it all the way up, right? And this is what we have. Uh-oh. I'm gonna have to move these pots around. Okay. So now, if I'm at complete with the on the post, we'll start dialing in. Sorry, seems like my clean channel might be out, or this pot. I'm gonna have to might have to put some contact cleaner on that. I don't know about you, but I know about me. That's all I know. That's all I know about. You know, when I first got this amp, I think I just thought it was cute, and maybe when I heard it, you know, in that saturation channel, possibly at the store, I thought to myself, "Wow, that's some serious saturation." Considering when I was buying it, now this is early '80s, you know, this is way before the PV 5150, you know. But that saturation, that was deep, you know? I mean, that was a little over the top saturation, almost uncontrollable, and a little unforgiving. I can only imagine that if it was coming out of a better speaker, a better enclosure, possibly, man, that's a whole other thing to look into. I mean, I don't know if I would ever venture into that project, put this into a different enclosure or put a different speaker in it. Or I don't like that it's so small, that for that speaker to play with its compartment, in that field, to make it boomy sound. I don't know. It just there's a lot of things that don't appeal to me about this particular amplifier. I mean, I have pros and cons about this thing. So one of the pros, I guess, would be that it's light. It's also, look at it. It's quite cute. It is very light. So one of the pros are, oh no, let's do the cons first. No, let's do the pros first, because all right, the pros go first. Let the hose first. Okay, here we go. The pro is that it's so small, it's so light, it's cute, isn't it? Look at that. Look at it. It has a name called Decade, and look, it's Peavey. Look how cool the lettering is. That's cool. Those are the cool parts. And you know what? I do like the knobs, kind of like I don't know, kind of like it's supposed to be in like an emergency room or something. All right, so you know what? Also another good pro is like this tolex, whatever they have over here. This is really strong. It's got. Cause think about it. This is over 4 decades long. Look how 4 decades and still this whole covering is still on. How many things nowadays last this long? They built things differently back then, obviously. But has it grown in value for me? Have I grown into the decade? Has the decade grown into me? Well, decades have. I'm decades older. But the point is this, when I first got it, I think I kind of wore off the honeymoon experience soon. Possibly, it might have been like a week or two later. And I remember it, slightly. I don't even remember where I bought it. Could have been a Manny's or Rudy's or something, someone, or Chelsea Music. Or not Chelsea, but this was, I bought this back then. I don't know. And so the story goes like this. I really didn't use it for practicing. I didn't write songs with it. It was a little bit uninspiring for me. Some other amps, I should say, that were small, basically like this shape, small, tiny. Well, not so tiny, and not so light, because back in the day when I was a hamster, when I was small, tiny. Younger, I should say. The practice amps, they weren't quite so small, but they weighed a ton. Even just if they were twice as big than this, but they would just weigh a ton because it's tubes. It's just everything was heavy. But this is so light. I'm sure I bet you a 10-year-old, a 5-year-old would be easily move this thing from room to room. A 3-year-old might be. Anyway, so that's a con. That's a pro, isn't it? Oh no, that's a pro, right? It's light. It's lightweight. It's lightweight, folks. Even a child can move this amplifier. What else can it do? So what else can it do? So you can move the EQ to suit your needs, I guess. Yeah. But I think it's limited to the quality of the speaker the most. And then second would be the enclosure. I believe the enclosure contributes a lot to the sound. Now, I don't know that it just could be possibly that if you were to change the speaker enclosure and do something like that, like radical like that maybe this all up here sounds really good for us. But right now we don't know because we have to turn it all the way up, and I gotta get to, because I really don't use this when I play this amplifier. My intention to play this amplifier is not to use the normal channel. I mean, who's normal now? I mean, that's kind of boring. So, I mean, look, the normal channel, I mean, no, that's, I really don't use that. This thing was always used on the saturation channel. And like I said before, this was my setting. And that would be all I need.